And if that's the first thing they see is 2-year soccer player, they might not even go down the rest of it. So always impress them right away. Try to only use high school activities. Don't use stuff from middle school. Try to keep it in high school. Make sure you emphasize leadership roles, but don't include minor details. So kind of what I mean by that, like in BPA, I competed in a lot of events, and like I placed in not district and state levels, but I didn't put that on my resume. I just put that I was state president of Indiana. Because they really, those minor details they're not going to worry about, that you really want to impress them. Like, your resume is the time and place where you can brag on yourself, where gloating about who you are is not going to be looked at as bad. So you always want to put your most prestigious things on there. As far as essays, a lot of scholarships will ask for essays, some won't, but most of the time they'll give you their own unique prompt. It's usually something cheesy, like if you were stuck on an island, like what items would you bring with you, or who's the most influential person in your life. But as common as those essay topics might be, try to be different. They're going to read thousands of applicants, and if you can stand out in any way, it's good. And I kind of put this in the wrong place, but at the bottom it says personality, so be obvious with your personality. Try to get across who you are, because that's what they want. They want to be able to read your essay and look at your resume and know who they're going to bring into their college. So an essay is a perfect time to do that. As I said before, if you start early with your essays, you have time to have multiple people proofread it, and that's always a good idea. What some person sees, another person might miss, and there's always room for improvement. And especially as high school students, we don't always know the best way to word something, and it's really good to have adult proofreaders and different levels of people, like a business teacher or an entrepreneur, or your boss at work. Like, whatever you can grab at, they're going to have different inputs for you. And then, like I said, most of the prompts are usually different, but I did have a couple this year that were almost the same thing. I had to change just a few sentences around to kind of make them work. But try to reuse your essays if you can. There's no sense in writing a 5-page essay twice. So make sure you save all your stuff, and only if you have to change like one paragraph and it to fit the next scholarship, it's a good idea to do that, because they're not going to know, and it's not cheating. You already wrote the essay, you might as well use it twice. So.
Probably a good idea is to create a Word folder
Yeah.
of scholarship. Basically name it scholarship and make that, everything that you're doing is in that scholarship folder.
Yeah, I did. Every time I fill out something, I saved it and made sure I had it on hand.
Yeah.
As I stated before, making good relationships with adults is a really good idea. Teachers, advisors, anybody. Like I said, Vicki is a good one for me. My BPA advisor and state advisor was awesome for me. So try to create good relationships early, especially as a freshman. My business teacher was instantly impressed with me as a freshman, and she helped me progress more than she did the other students. Not saying that that's not fair, but she knew the potential in me, and it's good to show that potential early and create a good relationship there. And whenever you ask someone to write a letter for you, make sure you give them plenty of notice. Don't say, my scholarship is due in 2 days and I need my recommendation letter. As soon as you find out about the scholarship, let them know that they're going to be the one writing the recommendation letter, so they have a time to write a good letter, just like you have a good amount of time to write the essay and whatnot.
But probably you want to also give them a little focus of what to put in there, or have you not decided at all?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay.
One thing that's good, especially if the teacher doesn't, or advisor doesn't know a lot about you, but just kind of knows who you are in the school, it's a good idea to just go ahead and make like a fact sheet about yourself, and put what clubs you're involved in, your GPA and your class rank, where you work and stuff like that, because then when they're writing their letter, they'll put all that information in there. Along with that, make sure that the person writing the letter knows about the scholarship, because it's really good if the recommendation letter can include details about the scholarship. So I would provide that stuff for them. It's going to make it easier on them, and they're going to appreciate it a lot more. I kind of already said this, but use a variety of knowledgeable contacts. Make sure that people know someone about you. Don't ask like a complete stranger or someone you just met, even if they do need a fact sheet to kind of write out. Like my business teacher still kind of needed a fact sheet of me to know what other activities I was involved in. So make sure they semi-know you. And like I said, try to get a good variety of people so you don't have like all your coaches, but you also use teachers or advisors or bosses or people within the town. And then one thing you'll always want to be sure of is after they write you a recommendation letter to thank them in some way, whether it's with a letter or a gift or something like that. It's appreciated. When you go to submit your scholarship, a lot of times it'll be online, but sometimes you'll have to actually mail stuff in. Make sure that everything is included, double check, triple check, just to make sure that everything is in there, because if you're missing one thing, they're just going to throw you out right away. So make sure everything's in there. What I did is I had like manila envelopes that were paper sized, and then I made my own labels, so I didn't have to like write on the envelope to send it in, and it looks a lot more professional and like you cared and took the time to do it. I think that's like a good first impression. It's just in the envelope that they get. Make sure you find out when the scholarship is going to be announced, and make sure you keep track of your email or phone, because normally that's how they will contact you that you got it. And sometimes you'll have to reply within a week saying that you accept the scholarship and you accept being a scholar within that organization. So you always want to make sure you know the date it's going to be announced, and make sure you constantly check your contacts. If you're chosen, remember that just because you got one scholarship doesn't mean that you can stop. Try to keep going and submit more until you have enough money that you need to go to the college that you want. And a lot of times it's not just about covering tuition and housing, but maybe you win a $1,000 scholarship and you can get a new laptop with it. So always look for more scholarships. Be knowledgeable of future requirements. For my Horatio Alger scholarship, I have to, over the course of 4 years, I have to keep in contact with the organization. If I don't do that, I will be put on probation and I won't get any money. So make sure that you read whenever you get your scholarship if there's anything you have to do besides just getting it. Another thing is, for my point scholarship, I have to do a community service project each year on my college. So if I don't do that, I don't get the money. So make sure that you know everything that you have to do past that. Same thing with the recommendation letters. Make sure you write thank you letters to your scholarships, because they're giving you lots of money, and just writing a simple thank you letter is the least that you could do for that. Another thing, this is kind of at the bottom, a lot of times you can become alumni members in the organization, or you can go to their events and stuff just to show that you are appreciative of what they gave to you. Even staying in contact with them after college, I think, is a good rule of thumb. I haven't really gotten to that spot yet, but I plan to keep in contact with BK and Horatio Alger just because they gave me my future, and it's good that you can keep in contact with them. And if you're chosen, try to make contacts from your scholarship. Like I said, I met Leonardo DiCaprio, and you never know who you're going to come in contact with. So keep an open mind when it comes to that. So I named this presentation Entrepreneur Yourself. It doesn't really read like that, but it kind of looks cool. And then kind of what I meant by that is learning to, you're kind of learning from the boot camp here how the skills that you need to kind of make your own business and to make your own future. And what I'm trying to focus on here is where you are the product. You're trying to build your resume, build who you are, so that you can sell yourself to the colleges and scholarships, which is totally important, because you're going to be your biggest fan when it comes down to it, and selling yourself to these colleges and scholarships. And I listed all the ways that you can do that. Explore and excel in high school. Try to find different interests in what you like. Make sure you take advantage of leadership roles. Establish good relationships with your teachers and friends. One thing I didn't mention earlier, but is a good thing to keep, and I'm not up here to give peer pressure talk or anti-drinking or drugs, but it is a good idea to have a good group of friends when you come to high school, because if they're excelling, you're gonna feel stupid if you're not excelling either in your friend group, and they're gonna push you in the right direction. I know my friends have, and I thank them all the time for it. And entrepreneur skills is perfect, and it's what you're learning from Vicky. And finding scholarships, I mean, I basically paid for my entire college, which is a huge expense that a lot of people don't have the luxury of doing. And it's only going to remove relief off my shoulders. Like when I got my first scholarship, it was only $5,000 a year, which was nothing for NYU. And it just like, I felt this weight go off my shoulders, like, wow, I can actually do this, I can get money. And it kind of became like an addiction. It's like, wow, if I can get that scholarship, wow, I wonder how much more I can get. And that's when I started like applying like crazy, and eventually I had my college paid for. And like I said, you become your biggest fan. Like you need to be confident in yourself, know who you are, know where you want to go, and you can combine all that and be your biggest fan, and hopefully the college and the scholarship will see that and pick you. So that's the end of my presentation.